Hello students, how are you all? In this session, we'll be discussing about the computer science important questions. According to the blueprint, important 2 markers, 3 markers, 5 markers will be discussing, important questions will be discussing. So without further delay, let's start the video. So let's start with the first chapter here. That's going to be typical configuration of computer system. So marks allocated for this chapter is going to be 4. It's going to be 1 question for 1 marker, that's going to be MCQs, and we have 3 marker question as well. Put together, it's going to be 4 markers here. Put together, it will be 4 marks allocated for this chapter. So what kind of questions you may get here? So write a note on cache memory. Write a note on cache memory. Very important, students. You're supposed to write definition of cache, and then you're supposed to write the types of cache and then the diagram here. Okay, characteristics of motherboard, form factor, chipset, processor, socket, you know it. Ensure that you're going to write the important keywords here, like geometry, dimensions, and it controls and coordinate all other systems. It's basically a place where we mount the processor like that. You need to mention the keywords there, which is very, very important. So what is UPS? Explain its types. You should be knowing its uninterruptible power supply. So 3 major components of motherboard they've asked here. So any 3 components of motherboard can be mentioned here, explained here, I mean to say. So explain types of motherboard. It's very important. I just changed my word here right now. When they've asked you to mention, you can just mention, but when they've asked you to explain it, you have to explain each component, students. That is very, very important. Just mentioning will not fetch you the marks. So different types of motherboard with example. So all the different types of motherboard, XT, AT, Baby AT, ATX motherboard, you need to write it, and then with example. 3 markers means you can just write 3 types here. It's better you mention all the 4 types. So if anything wrong is also there, you'll be able to get the marks. Explain power supply of computer system, SMPS and UPS. So you should be knowing the power supply here, switch mode power supply, UPS and its types. It's already covered there. And we have write the features of USB port. So USB port, they can ask you a note on USB port, or they may ask you like why USB is known as a plug-in port device. So why is it called? Okay, so they may ask you like that also. Or in case of 1 marker, like what is the the data transfer rate of an USB port. So like that also they may ask you. So USB you cannot live with, student. This is important. So what is a port and what is the slot they have asked you, and any 3 types of slots and ports you can write it. Okay, so we'll just go to the next chapter now. So next chapter is a very important chapter, Boolean algebra. So what are the questions you may get it here? So you will definitely get 1 question from MCQs here, and 2 markers you're going to get, and 5 markers put together. This chapter carries 8 marks here. So here we have defined the terms here: tautology, fallacy, min term, max term, K-map and truth table. So the most commonly committed mistake with respect to tautology is always 1, it's tautology, always 0, it's fallacy. So you mean to say that, students, if I write it, so if I just write, it means to say it is a tautology. If I write 0, it means to say fallacy. It's not like that, no. What is tautology? The result of an expression which is always true is known as tautology. The result of an expression which is always false is known as fallacy. So example for tautology is what? You can write it as x plus x bar is equals to what? That's going to be 1, no? It is irrespective of the values of x, the result is 1. It's like that. So when you're defining the term, ensure that it should be a proper definition. Clear? So similarly with respect to min term, max term, so product of all the literals with or without bar within the logic system. So properly you need to define each and every term here. So let me just tell you with respect to the K-map here. What is K-map? K-map is going to be the Karnaugh map. So here it's a pictorial representation of solving a Boolean expression. Is it clear? It's K-map is nothing but the Karnaugh map. Another name for Boolean algebra, I think is the most commonly asked question. That's going to be the switching algebra. NOT gate is also known as what? Inverter gate, right? So state and prove commutative law, complementary law, and involution law. I know that if you go through with the textbooks, n number of laws are there. At least don't miss these laws. So they may ask you to prove it for 2 markers. Is it clear? So I had told you in the previous session, involution law is also known as what? Double inversion law. bar gets cancelled, right? X double bar is equals to X, right? So you can remember like that. So here, algebraically, there are a number of questions given here. Whenever you're proving these kind of laws using algebraic method, means algebraic method only, not using truth table method or proof by perfect induction. Algebraic method only you have to use it. So how will you do it? Let's take a very simple example. The D question will just take it. So it's going to be X is common. It hardly takes 2 or 3 steps to solve the students. Such simple questions only you will find it in the final exam. So X is common here. So we have Y plus Y bar. So what is Y plus Y bar? Y plus Y bar is nothing but 1. So we have X here. X into 1 is X only, no? So you can just write here. With the help of complementary law, we have written this using complementary law, using principle of AND operation. So just mention the law, so you will be able to get the marks properly, right? So ensure that use the algebraic method only, don't use the truth table method. So we have proof by perfect induction. They have not given us proof here. So it is, what is meant by perfect induction method? It's substituting the values for X. If X equals to 0. Okay, you prove it. If X equals to 1, you prove it. So if you substitute the values of X and if you perform it, so we call it as proof by perfect induction method. One example you can give. Principle of duality, I already told you what is principle of duality. It's basically given a Boolean expression, obtaining another Boolean expression by changing AND to or to AND, 0 to 1, 1 to 0, not X to X bar, not that. Okay, so they may ask you to find the dual of the expression here. So K-map for 2 variable, 3 variable, 4 variable, just the general K-map. Just the general K-map, if you mention it, that's more than enough. Canonical expression, what is canonical expression? Mention its type. We have SOP, POS, so that you have to write it here. Applications of De Morgan's theorem, it's a 2 markers only. Just remember 2-3 applications, that's more than enough. So we have De Morgan's theorem. I just told you to remember one De Morgan's theorem. One tagline you have to remember. What is the tagline? Break the line and change the sign. Right? So do you remember that? So it is X plus Y whole bar is equals to what? Break the line, no? Let's break the line now. X bar into Y bar. So break the line and change the sign. So it's done with one law. Similarly, we have another law with respect to the AND operation. That also you can write it. So we have one definite question from Boolean function, especially from K-map, one definite question to fix. Don't worry about this. POS definitely they will not ask. It is only SOP. It is only midterms only they're going to ask it. So just focus on SOP. That's more than enough. Is it clear? So we'll just take up. And these are all the midterms only, students. They can give it like this or they can give it like this also. Both are the same. So we'll just solve one problem here. So what are the values here? I'll just solve it in the next slide. So 0 is missing here, 6 is missing, then 10 is missing, 14 is missing. Right? So 12 terms. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'll just solve it in the next slide. Especially this one. Okay, 9th. So we'll just solve it. So what is it? So we'll just write the empty K-map. So this is AB, 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 AB. CD, can we interchange? Interchange will not give you the marks. Okay, gray code we are using 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay, let me write the gray code once. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. It's the same. Wherever 0 is there, you negate it. Okay, so after that, we'll just number the midterms here. We'll just mark the midterms. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we'll just mark the midterms here. So what is the midterm? Except, students, except M0, M0, 6, and it was 14, and it was, what, something else I missed it. It's 10. So these, except these 4 terms, we had all the terms. So except these things, I'm going to mark everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 0, 6, I'm leaving. 14, this I have to leave. So how do we write it? So now remember, empty K-map will fetch you 1 mark. Marking fetch you 1 mark. Then you need to group it. So how do you do the grouping? So grouping will be done based on. So grouping will be done based on octet, okay, quad, pair and single. Remember this. See, in case of K-map, you have to remember that you can group it either horizontally or vertically, but not diagonally. I can group it like this, I can group it like this, but this is not allowed. This is one point you have to remember. And wraparound condition is there. So what is wraparound condition? Wraparound condition means, for example, we have 1, 1, 1, 1 here. Okay, 1, 1, 1, 1 here. I can just wrap it round. Wrap it round. If I fold it, I'll get the 8 ones together. That's called a wraparound condition. And one more condition you have to remember, 4 corners will be 1 quad. So if I have this, anyway, this is already covered. For example, if there is another condition here, okay, let me erase it here. Okay, I just have only so much. So I have just this. Then 4 corners will be 1 quad. It is same as wraparound, only I'm going to fold it twice. If I fold it twice, 4 corners will be 1 quad. Remember that. And one more point I would like to teach you here. So what if I'm going to erase this? Okay, so I'm going to write it like this. So if you write it like this, how will you group it? Now I have marked it, I have to group it. No, how will I group it? So I'm going to cover this 1. Okay, then I'm going to cover this with this. Okay, and now I have ones here left out. Okay, I'm going to use it a different color here. I'm going to wrap it like this. If you do this, it leads to an extra term here, extra term, something which is more extra. It's called redundancy. Redundancy should be avoided. What is K-map, students? K-map is basically a pictorial representation of, like reducing the expression, Boolean expression diagrammatically. Reducing the Boolean expression, like pictorially we will reduce it. But if you have extra term, then what is the use, isn't it? Redundancy should be avoided. Redundancy should be avoided. So this, you remember, what is it? Grouping based on octet, quad, pair and single. Then after that, you need to remember wraparound condition, we can fold it. 4 corners will be 1 quad. Redundancy should be eliminated. Redundancy first, you will not be able to get it. After grouping only, you can check, is there any redundancy I'm making? Okay, that you have to be careful. So we'll just group it now. So I'm going to group it based on this color only, we will do it. So very simple. Do I have an octet here? Octet is there, 8 ones together, we have it. So we'll just do the octet here. So this is going to be octet 1. So what is left out? So this is left out. So quad is not possible with respect to this. This is missing here. So is there any quad possible for this? Definitely quad is possible. This is going to be Q2. These 2 are there. So I'm going to quad it. Remember, this one is not covered. If I cover it for this, if I cover it with the already covered ones, that is not redundancy. This was already covered, this was already covered. Covered ones, if you group it for the covered ones, that is redundancy. But this was not covered. For this, I'm making in quad. That is really, that's allowed. So this is Q1, this is Q2, and this is going to be Q3, and then we have a pair here. So it's not possible for a quad here, so I'll go for a pair here only. So what is the answer? It's very simple. What is Owen? Everything will go off. Everything will be 1. 1 into what is common here? It's going to be D. So what is Q2? Q2 is nothing but common between these 2 is A. Common here is C bar. And what is Q3? Common is B. And common here is C bar again. Okay, then we have pair 1. Pair 1 is what? It's A bar, B bar, A bar, B bar, and then C. Okay, so it's going to be 1 octet, 2 quads, and 1 pair, right? This is a octet, it's a quad, it's another quad, then pair. So what is the final answer? Final answer will be f of ABCD f of ABCD will be equal to D bar plus AC bar plus BC bar plus A bar B bar C. Is the point clear? Remember, K-map, grouping based on octet, quad, pair and single. Wraparound is allowed. Okay, 4 corners, 1 quad. Redundancy not allowed. Uncovered ones, if you overlap for the uncovered ones, it is okay. Overlapping for the uncovered ones, it is okay. Clear? We'll just go to the next chapter. So we have a logic gates here. Logic gate, it's a very important simple chapter, but of course a different question you're going to get from this chapter. So one question you're going to get for the MCQs, and 2 markers will be for the basically based on realization of gates only will be there. So 2 markers will be there. So realize and using NOR, okay, or using NOR or using NAND. So remember, we have basic gates like AND, OR, NOT, and then we have other gates like NAND, NOR, then XOR, XOR and XNOR. These are all the derived gates. NOR gate and NAND gate are called universal gates. Gates which are using NAND and NOR, if you are able to derive the basic gates, okay, you can derive any gate. So such gates are called as universal gates. So realizing the basic gates using the NAND and NOR, in general I can tell about that. Okay, working procedure for AND gate. Okay, so truth table for all the basic gates and the derived gates they've asked here. Realization of the basic gates using NAND gate and realization of basic gates using NOR gate. So we'll just do this. So how do we write it? So I'm going to write it here. So we'll just start with this color. Okay, this is NOR. Okay, so how do we write it? So this is going to be not. I'm telling it is not. We will verify whether it is not or not. Isn't it? So then we have I'm telling you it as OR. So this is A, B, it's A, this is B, and I'm telling you this is AND. So we'll verify whether we are getting realization of the basic gates using NOR gate. NAND and NOR are what? Universal gates. So we just do it. What is this? You just have to OR it and then negate it. A plus A whole bar. What is A plus B? A plus B is A only, no? So it's A bar. So I've got the NOT gate here, A, and then A bar is not only, no? So it's going to be A plus B whole bar. So it is A plus B whole bar plus A plus B whole bar. Okay, X plus X is what? X only, no? So it is A plus B bar. What is bar? Bar gets cancelled due to involution law. Involution law is also known as double inversion law. It is nothing but A plus B. Nothing but OR. So we have AND here. This is going to be what? A bar. A plus A whole bar. Okay, I'll just show you this. A plus A whole bar. A plus A is A only, no? So A bar. Similarly, we have B bar. So it is A bar plus B bar whole bar. According to De Morgan's law, what is the tagline of De Morgan's law? Break the line and change the sign. We'll break this line and change the sign now. So it is A bar into B bar. It is A into B. A into B is AND only. Is the point clear? It's very simple, students. You're supposed to get the basic gates using the NOR gate. Remember, everything is a NOR gate. If you make one mistake also, you will not get it. Remember, getting an OR gate using NOR gate, just take 2 gates. NOT gate always one only. Okay, NOR or related, no, only 2 gates is enough. So we have AND, okay, get AND using NOR. So it's going to be 3 gates. Similarly, with respect to NAND also we will do it. So I'm going to use yellow color here. This is going to be NAND here. So NAND Remember students, it's what? So this is going to be A into A bar. It's A bar only, no? So then I have to get students, see here, getting an AND gate by the NAND gate. It should be less only, and not relative, no, only two gates. So it is A is there, B is there, it is nothing but A into B whole bar. So it is A into B whole bar into A into B whole bar. Okay, it is X into X is what? X only, right? So it is A into B whole bar. Bar gets cancelled due to involution law. Involution law is also known as double inversion law. It is nothing but A into B. So getting an AND gate using NAND gate just takes 2 gates. And realizing an OR gate using NAND gate takes 3 gates. So how do we write it? It's going to be simple. So I'm going to make it as A here. I'm going to make it B here. This is going to be A bar, B bar, A bar into B bar whole bar. Break the line, change the sign. De Morgan's law, it is the same only. Bar gets cancelled, right? Bar gets cancelled due to involution law, and double inversion law is also known as involution law is also known as double inversion law. It's A into B. NAND using NAND, or using NAND. I think I made a mistake. I did not change the sign, students. I have to change the sign. Okay, I have to change the sign. So it's going to be OR using NAND, so 3 gates, and using NAND gate 2 gates, and this is going to be 1 gate. Is the point clear? So we'll just go to the next chapter. So we have a very, very important chapter that's going to be data structure. So how many marks it carries? It's totally 14 marks. So 1 MCQ will be there, and 3 markers, 1 question will be there, and 2 5-marker question will be there. Okay, so what is it? Primitive data structure. It's operated on machine level instructions. Explain 2 operations on primitive data structure. It's create, alter, update, and then we have destroy. Non-primitive data structure, give 2 examples. So just remember that it's going to be array, list, and files. That's going to be non-primitive data structure. So example, you have to give the example here. Memory representation of row major order. So row major order means the elements will be arranged or will be stored in according to the row wise. Is it clear? So we have elements like 1, 2, 3, 4. And okay, then it is 5 and 6. Let me change the color, okay? So we have elements like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how the elements will be stored in row major order? According to the row wise. Which is the first row element? It's 1, 2, 3. This is how it will be stored. And second row elements, 4, 5, 6. So this is going to be the row major order. Column major order means according to the column wise. First it will be 1, 4. First column element, second column elements is 2, 5. Then we have 3, 6 as the third column elements. According to the row wise is row major order. According to the column is called as column major order. Very simple. You need to know that. Okay. Its understanding is very simple. Okay. Then we have memory representation of 1-dimensional array and 2-dimensional array. 2-dimensional array is what I discussed now. And representation of stack using array. So any method you can write it here. So algorithm for push, pop, traversal, insertion element, deletion of an element. So we'll discuss again here. So what is queue? Different types of queue. So you should be knowing DQ is a type of queue, circular queue and all is there. Priority queue. Okay, so you should ensure that you need to write the type along with the block diagram here. So linked list, mention the different types of linked list, write the block diagram and explain. So any kind of term, like any kind of definition they may ask you from the tree. Okay, we have a nonlinear data structure like tree and graph, right? So they may ask you definition with respect to any kind of terms like root node, what is leaf node, like that. They may ask you the definition. You should be knowing about it. So what about 5 markers? Operation performed in stack, queue, primitive data structure. Primitive data structure, it is different. The same thing as here. Okay, for this almost similar. Okay, NQ, DQ, inserting element, deleting element, the word will be different. So primitive is what? It's create, then it's not alter, I mean to say. It's create, select, update and destroy. non-primitive data structure? One, remember here, operations on non-primitive data structure also means the same. One-dimensional array also means the same. See, operations on non-primitive data structure means, again, we speak about the arrays. Okay, arrays. Operations on that also means the same. Operations on one-dimensional array also means the same. Operations on linear data structure also means the same. It is traversing, insertion, deletion, searching, sorting. It is the same. Clear? So we have non-linear data structure. This will be different. Non-linear data structure means trees and graphs. You will be operations on trees and graphs. We don't have. I think they have just included this. This part is not there. We don't have an operations on linear data structure as such. So linked list is there. Linked list operations is there. Traversing, searching, sorting, that is and all is there. So we have sorting. I told you sorting is what? Arrangement of elements. No, any sorting technique usually will have two loops, one comparison and swapping technique. Remember that point. So similarly, we have a binary search. So binary search, we arrange the elements and then we sort it. We arrange the elements, we make use of some sorting technique for arranging it, and then we're going to apply a kind of boundary technique. That means what? So for example, it has to be sorted, any order, ascending order, descending order. I take it in ascending order. So we're going to fix the boundary, beginning. We have to start from here, we have to end. Okay. Searching an element. What is search? Is searching and finding the position of an element in an array is called as search. Right? So we make use of binary search in order to reduce the number of iterations that are used to search the element. So we are fixing the boundary and find the middle position here. If the element is, for example, the search element is going to be, let's consider 2. Okay, what is the mid? Mid is going to be here. 3 means what? Let's consider, change it. Okay, I'm going to write it like this. This is going to be the mid. These are all the index. If the element is 20, you have to search, then find out the mid value. Mid value is what? Beginning plus n by 2. If the element is less than the a of mid, you're going to refix the boundary from beginning to end. End will be till here. That means mid minus 1. If the element is greater than the a of mid, I'm going to change my beginning. I'm going to search from here to here. Just remember that. What if the element is in the a of mid? Return the position. That itself is the position. Either midday position. What if the element is less? You change the end. What if the element is greater? You change the beginning. Getting my point? The other value will be same. Beginning will be beginning only, end will be end only. Is the point clear? So you should remember that. So we have inserting an element into an array and deleting an element to the array, and applications of stacks and queues are there. So we'll just take up inserting an element to the array. So here, so we'll just see here 10, 20, 30, 40, okay, and 50. So inserting an element. How do we insert an element to the array, students? Very simple. We're going to make a space there and then we insert the element. I'm supposed to insert 25 here. Right now I cannot insert, no. Because this is also fixed. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. At 2, 25 should be there, and at 3, 30 should be there. It again, no, it should be shifted. It's not directly I can go and put my element. I cannot. There is no index as such as 1.5 or something. It's not there. It's fixed. 0, 1, 2, 3. So what will I do? We keep shifting the elements downwards. Array size will always be greater, no, greater than the number of elements. We make it a point we should not have any kind of memory shortage as such, right? We keep shifting the elements downwards. There will be a space here, and then I'm going to insert the element. In case of deletion, how do we do it? In case of deletion, okay, in case of deletion, how do we do it? In case of deletion, very simple, just directly go. It's not that we will ask the user to enter the element to be deleted, no. We'll ask the user to enter the position and then we delete the element. Let's consider that I'm going to delete this. Directly go to that position and delete, no. Just take out that element. Take out that element. Literally deletion will not take place. I'll just take out the element and then keep shifting the elements, no. Keep shifting the elements till n-1. Keep shifting the elements upwards. Shifting downwards, shifting upwards. This is insertion, this is going to be deletion. Is the point clear? So searching is done, binary search I just taught you. and then sorting is also done. So traversing is what? Traversing is basically, visiting each element in an array exactly once to do some operation. I think traversing is the most simpler algorithm. So similarly, we can have Q, and then they can ask you NQ operation, and then we can have DQ operation. I'll just tell you about the NQ operation. So NQ operation, in case of NQ operation, what happens here? Okay, I'll make it 10. I'll make it 20, I'll make it 30 and 40. Okay, so let's consider that I want to insert an element. How will I insert the element? We're going to insert the element only if it is, okay, if there is no space, I cannot insert the element. That means we need to, see, this is NQ. NQ means check for overflow condition. Okay, if array is equals to n minus 1, then see, you know that Q is what? Q is basically a linear destructor that follows the principle called FIFO, that is first in first out. Insertion takes place from the right end of the queue, deletion takes place from the front end of the queue, that and all. Okay, you need to have an idea about it. Only then it is easy for you to understand this concept. So check the overflow condition, and if you're inserting for the very first time, increment rear and front to 0. Initialize rear and front to 0, and every time what happens, increment the rear and increment the rear. You keep incrementing the rear. For example, I want to insert one more element, increment my rear. Right now, what is my front? Front will be here, rear will be here, right? I can delete from here, I can keep inserting from here. Let's consider that there are so many spaces also. I want to insert one more element. How will I do it? It's 50 and increment my rear. One more, increment the rear, insert the element. If you're inserting for the very first time, just ensure make front and rear pointing to 0, then keep inserting the limits. That is NQ. What is DQ? DQ is check. See, first you need to check for underflow condition. DQ is what? DQ is check the underflow condition. Check the underflow condition. Okay. If front is equals to -1, front is equals to null, when there is no element, how can we delete an element? So check the underflow condition. And what if, and otherwise, what do you do? Let's consider I want to delete the element. Take out the element. So take out the element and then increment the front. Take out the element, increment the front. Okay, but take out the element, increment the front. What if after taking out everything, so let's consider this is not there. It is not there. My rear is also here, my front is also here. That means there is only one element. A special case will arise for DQ. If there is only one element in the queue, it means to say that rear is equals to front. Already taken out the element. No, what do you have to do after taking out the element? Reinitialize front and rear to -1. Reinitialize front and rear to -1. Okay, so this is about the algorithm of NQ operation, DQ operation, inserting an element, deleting an element. So with respect to the push operation is also same. What is stack? Stack is basically a linear data structure that follows the principle called LIFO, that is last in first out. Last in first out. Whichever the bangle which we have inserted the end, that only should be taken out, right? Last in first out. So operations is push and pop. Push and pop is what? Push means insertion deletion takes place from one end only. I can insert the bangle from this. I have to take out the bangle from this side only, not this side, right? So we have a top. Okay, that's the end of the. Okay, the pointer where we insert the element and delete the element is called as top of the stack. So it is usually pointing to -1. Similarly, here for push, you need to check for. Push means what? What you have to check? Overflow condition. I cannot insert it if there is an overflow. If there is no space, how can I insert it? That is called overflow condition. So we have a pop means we have to check the underflow condition. If there is no element, I cannot delete the element. Right? So how will I do it? Check the overflow condition for the push operation. That means when top is equals to -1, if it is here, I cannot insert any element. Otherwise, what do we do? Increment the top, insert the element. This is my top. Increment the top, insert the element. Increment the top, insert the element. 20, 30. Increment the top, insert the element. This is my top. If top is equals to n-1, it means to say overflow condition, you cannot insert the element. What is pop? Check the underflow condition. If top is equals to -1, if top is equals to null, you cannot delete any element from the stack. But otherwise, what do you do? Take out the element and decrement the top. Take out the element, decrement the top. Take out the element, decrement the top. Take out the element, decrement the top. As simple as that. So you discussed all the algorithm that will be asking from data structure chapter. So we have an OOP concept, students, a very, very important chapter. You cannot afford to leave this chapter. Definite question, you're going to get it. So 1 5 marker, definitely going to get it, either applications, advantages, disadvantages, characteristics of OOP, or difference between POP and OOP. Okay, procedure oriented programming and OOP, that is object oriented programming. If you don't know anything, at least you can say the characteristics only. No, inheritance is there, inheritance is not there, inheritance is there, inheritance is not there, data encapsulation is there, data encapsulation is not there, polymorphism is there, polymorphism is not there. In the worst case scenario, I'm telling you this. Is the point clear? So remember, whenever you're giving the advantage of OOP in with respect to the characteristics, you give the advantages. Complexity of the software will be reduced due to inheritance. Data abstraction separates the object implementation and object specification. Like that, in terms of characteristics, you can write the advantages. Remember that point. So we'll go to the next chapter, that's going to be classes and objects. So 1 MCQs and 5 marker, definite one question will be there. It's repeated in all the model papers that is released by the PU board. Definitely one question, that definitely program based question will be there. Okay, so array of objects. So with syntax and example, most asked question is going to be like this. So define a class, data members will be given, member functions will be given. So all these problems I have done already. All these problems I've already solved in model question paper 1, model question paper 2, full length paper 1, full length paper 2, multiple full length papers, and I have done it. Kindly go through that videos, definitely you will be able to find it very useful. Okay, so we have member function inside the class, outside the class, class definition, class declaration, access specifiers, object, syntax and example. Remember, whenever they've asked you syntax, example, you have to write the syntax and example. That's how the marks will be allocated. So you cannot write whole theory there, and without programming example, you will not be able to get the marks. Okay, and for such questions, write the main function also. Write the main function also. Main function, just 4 lines, students. I'll just show you the example in the next slide. What are the characteristics of member function outside the class definition? That means we make use of scope resolution operator, right? So whatever the function you have declared, the same function should define it outside the class. Whatever the arguments the function is taking, the number of arguments should match with the function definition and function declaration. All the characteristics is there. So this, most probably the questions the students may miss out. So you just check here, characteristics of member function. It's clearly given in the textbook. It's not highlighted, it is not made bold. It's not made bold, so go through with that question also. So I was just telling you with respect to this, the most frequently asked question, not like this, a similar kind of question. So this is going to be the class definition. Class definition is there, a function is there, 2 functions are there, declaration, and then we have defined a function outside. Either it can be inside or either it can be outside, and this is going to be object declaration or class declaration. Very simple. These 2 are what? Data members. I'm making point very clear to you. These 2 are data members. They'll give you, you have to just put it under int or float or something. These 2 are member functions which can be defined inside the class. Inside the class means within this only I can define it. Outside the class means after this class definition you can define it making use of scope resolution operator, and this is going to be object declaration, nothing but the class declaration. Okay, main function, very simple, declare an object and call the functions using a dot operator. So we have function overloading, chapter 8. So this chapter will be carrying totally 6 marks, 1 MCQ will be there and 1 5 marker will be there, either based on friend function or characteristics of friend function. Usually program based on friend function is very, very rare. Characteristics only they'll ask you with respect to the friend function. So function overloading, explain the need of function overloading. So you should write the need of function overloading for 4 marks. So that means 4 points should be there. Inline function, advantages and disadvantages of inline function. So we have, inline function itself they've asked you, try writing the inline function using class. Without class, you don't write it. Okay, using inline function, using inline keyword, you write it. Don't say that any function which is defined inside the class is inline. No, ma'am, by default. No, of course it is, but they'll be expecting the keyword inline. You write the program with using inline keyword along with the class. So inline function with syntax and programming examples, you need to write it. So this is going to be 3 marks, this is going to be 2 marks and 1 mark. So this is how the marks allocation. Function overloading with syntax and programming example, I'll take up this. Friend function is already there, syntax and programming example they've asked here. It's quite less, chances is less, I feel. So situation that inline function may not work. If it's too lengthy, if it's too complicated, go to, switch, for loop, okay, recursive function if at all there, no? We cannot, inline function will not work anymore. It works as a normal function. That means, burden will be there, going, coming, like that it will be there. So I was just telling you with respect to the function overloading. Function overloading means function having same name but differing by the number of arguments or by the data type of the arguments. So let's consider a class called FO. Okay, function overloading only. So we have a function called double area. The same function only I'm taking because you can easily relate it. Okay, double L. Okay, double area. Okay, let me take it as return L into L. L into L. Area double L into B. Area of square, area of rectangle. Double B. Return L into B. Return L into B. Main function, void main function. Okay, I'll just write FOOB. Okay, OB dot area. Okay, can we overload this function? Definitely we can overload this function. Function's having same name. It's having 1 argument. It is having 2 arguments. So definitely we can overload the function. So FOB dot object dot area, I can write 10 here. Okay, then I can write OB dot area 10 and 20. The reason why I wrote this program is you need not have to write a very lengthy program when you're explaining function overloading, because lab program it's very lengthy. You can make the program very short. Make the program very short. You can write so much. You can write so much. Definitely will get marks. Clearly you're explaining what is function overloading, main function is there, everything is there. There is no scope for the validator to deduct the marks. Okay, you need not have to elaborate also, making too lengthy. No, it's not required because we have to attempt more questions. We have to get more marks, isn't it? So we'll just go to the next chapter. That's going to be chapter 9. That's going to be constructors and destructors. So this chapter carries 1 marker, MCQs and 2 markers and 1 5 markers. So totally 8 markers will be there. So constructor, give an example. So definitely question will be there. Constructor or destructor, rules of constructor, sure. Okay, syntax for default constructor, parameterized constructor and copy constructor. Destructor, remember the operator tilde either for the, like they'll ask for the MCQs. Mention its operator, symbol, write the symbol used for destructor. Okay, invoking methods for the parameterized constructor, just remember the methods for invoking the parameterized constructor. No, implicit method, explicit method equal to operator. Any 2 features of parameterized constructor. Remember here for 5 markers, rules for writing the constructor. Similarly for the destructor also they've given within this question. So destructor with syntax and example. The most commonly committed mistake by the students is they'll get confused with default constructor and destructor. Anyway, it is starting with DD, no, DE, so they just land up writing something else. Default constructor is different, destructor is different. You know the difference, but land up writing something else. Okay, open your eyes wide open, look at the question, answer properly. Clear? So explain how to invoke the parameterized constructor. Implicitly they have asked here. So it's going to be like this, students. So if I consider class test, no. So class test is there means. So this is going to be test int. So how will I write? So main function. Okay, something is there. Let's consider. I'm not writing the whole code here. So we're going to call it like this. Test T 10. I can write it like this. Test T 10 means it's an implicit method. Okay, so explain copy constructor with syntax and example. The chances of asking copy constructor is going to be quite less, more based on parameterized default constructor destructor only. Okay, so at least you should know what is copy constructor. Copy constructor is basically a parameterized constructor. It is used to initialize one object to another object. Okay, so we'll go to the next chapter, that's going to be inheritance. So this is going to carry 6 marks here. So 1 MCQ and 5 markers. Very simple chapter. They'll ask you what is inheritance, types of inheritance. When you're writing types of inheritance, ensure you write the block diagram, which is very, very important. Advantages of inheritance: easy to maintain, easy to debug. Okay, so and then we have code debugging is easy. I think I had given you some kind of hint also. CDEQ buffer, code reusability and debugging is easy, easy to maintain, easy to extend, and faster development code. So like this you can remember some kind of code to remember the advantages of inheritance. So visibility mode, explain its role. It's the same like private, protected, and public, but the context is different. Inheritance, we are using it here. Explain single level inheritance with programming example. Lab program, whatever you have written, the same program you can write it here. What is virtual base class with syntax and example? Okay, so little bit if they tested, they may ask you this. The chances of virtual base class is also less. So we'll go to the next chapter, that's going to be pointers. So what is a pointer? So before going to the pointers, it's going to carry 1 MCQs you will be asked and 3 markers will be there. So advantages of pointers. It's a very important question. They may ask you the advantages of pointers here. And what is a pointer? Declaration and syntax and example. I'll just come back this again. Array of pointer, very, very important. What is a pointer? Pointer is basically a variable that stores the address of another variable. Stores the address of another variable. If I want to have number of addresses stored, we make use of array of pointers. How do we declare it? Int star p. What is it? It's a pointer declaration. I want to make array of pointers. Array of pointers like this, 5 addresses I can store it. So one programming example that is given in the text, you can write it. You have to write it for getting 5 marks, for 3 marks. Okay, so what is free store? What is a pointer? How to initialize a pointer? The most important question. So p is equals to ampersand x. You can just write it as x here. So this is how we initialize a pointer here. So declare a pointer, different definition. Okay, how do you declare a pointer definition in different data types? So we can change the data type also here, in, float, char, okay, double, or it can be with respect to object also, with respect to class also. Differentiate between static memory and dynamic memory. So remember here, static means memory will be allocated during compilation time, and memory will be allocated from the stack part of the memory. Stack part of the memory, SS. There is a mistake in the textbook. Dynamic memory means memory will be allocated from the heap part of the memory. Heap part of the memory. Memory will be allocated during runtime. Don't make that mistake. This is going to be stack. Okay, memory will be allocated from stack part of the memory and stack part of RAM. And dynamic means from heap part of the memory, memory will be allocated here during runtime. Okay, so dynamic allocation, mention the operators used to allocate and deallocate memory space. So it's new operator, delete operator, that you should be knowing it. Pointer operator, indirection operator also we can call it. We can also call it as indirection operator. Pointer declaration is this. If I just write it, what is star p here, star of 0, that gives you the content of the pointer. What is the value stored in that address? That is indirection operator. This symbol I'm telling you. Address of operator, reference operator is the same only. Self-referential structure. A self-referential structure is basically a structure having a member that pointing to itself. Having a member that can point to itself is known as self-referential structure. So we'll go to the next chapter, that's going to be chapter 12, data file handling. So in this chapter you will be getting 1 2 markers and 1 3 markers, so totally 5 markers. What is a stream? Mention its type. So it's going to be an input stream and output stream, we have it. So differentiate between read function and write function. Any differences that they ask, ensure that you write which class it belongs to. With respect to input operation, if stream class. With respect to output operation, we have OF stream class. Read is there, get is there, get line is there. Then we have tell, G is there, seek G is there. These are all the input operations. That means we make use of a class called F stream class. And you just tell what is the purpose for this. For reading binary data from the file, for storing, for writing the binary content to the file. Okay, so get line, one entire line, one single character, we can read it. So like this, you can write the difference. Okay, get text files and binary files, they'll ask you the difference here. So very importantly asked, okay, that you should be knowing, use the important keywords, end of line. Okay, we have something called as end of line, and then we have, there is no eval. That is what I'm telling you. End of line is there, end of line is not there. Internal translations will take place, internal translation will not take place. Such keywords, you should use it. Okay, if stream functions, any if stream function, students, get, it can be get function, read function, seek G, tell G, these are all the if stream class, if stream functions only. So rest of them, it's going to be write, then we have put, then we have seek P, tell P, put function, these are all the OF stream functions. It's repeated. So what is the file difference between text file and binary file? It's a repeated question. File opening modes, explain different file opening modes means you need to write like this. iOS operator in, iOS operator out, iOS operator binary. So iOS operator app, iOS operator attend. So like this you have to write it. Operations performed on binary files, it's basically the same thing only. For inserting a data, it can be deleting a data, okay, appending the data, modifying the data. So these are all some of the operations performed on the binary files. Purpose of seek direction constant from where you want to move the get pointer, from where you want to move the put pointer. What is the reference? How many bytes? That is offset. Seek direction constants, it can be iOS operator current, iOS operator beginning. So iOS, okay, current, iOS, begin, and then end. So this is going to be the seek direction constant. So mention the methods to open a file and explain any one constructor method or using an open function method. So seek G and seek P. That means seek the put pointer, get pointer to your desired location. Tell where exactly the get pointer is there. That is tell, no. Tell where exactly the get pointer is there. That is tell. Tell exactly where exactly the put pointer is present. That is tell P. Okay, similarly we have a put function for writing a single character to the file. That belongs to a class called OF stream class. So we'll go to the database concepts. It's going to be a chapter 13 here. So chapter 13, it carries 11 marks. So all the fill in the blanks will be from this chapter only. All the fill in the blanks will be from this chapter, and one MCQ also will be there. 2 markers, 1 will be there, and 3 markers, 1 will be there. So applications of database, they may ask you. Types of database users, that is DBA, we have system analyst, and then programmer, application programmers, like that. Data independence, mention its types. Okay, so data independence is what? Data independence is basically, the ability to modify the schema without affecting the other schema. So that is called data independence. Features of database system. Okay, so you can write any features, easy to develop applications, or it can be centralized data storage, you can write it, or with respect to data integrity, any of the features you can write it. Advantages and disadvantages of file organization technique, that is ISAM. Okay, index sequential access method, at least know this full form of this question will be there on that. Okay, what are the definition of data, information, primary key, foreign key, candidate key? Keys are very, very important. So what is data mining? Components of data mining and data warehouse they are asking in the fill in the blanks. At least if you know, not as explanation, they may not ask you. So if you know the components, I think you'll be able to solve it, you'll be able to get the answer for the fill in the blanks, I feel. So we have, what is ER diagram? Components of ER diagram, it can be with respect to entity, it can be relationship, or it can be an attribute, anything, you can write it here. Relational model, hierarchical data model, tree-like structure, network model, graph-like structure, relational data model in terms of tables without pointers. That is the point. So explain 1-tier, 2-tier, and 3-tier architecture. So difference between manual and electronic data processing. what is the advantage of using a computer rather than using the manual files? If I use the manual files, what are the advantage? Okay, accuracy will be there, and like paper, there's no paper wastage, and then very convenient. Okay, it's very fast, labor cost is less. Whatever the advantages you're finding it, the same you have to write it for manual data processing and electronic data processing. So data processing cycle, you have to write all the different stages, and then you have to explain 3 levels of data abstraction. So physical level, conceptual level, and view level or external level, you have to explain that. Advantages, features of database system. So it is already covered, but it's going to be of 5 markers. Sorry, 3 markers. Is the point clear? So we'll just go to the next chapter. That's going to be chapter 14, SQL commands. They may ask you all the DDL commands. You should be thorough with the DDL command, students. Thorough with the DDL command, syntax, everything. Definitely one question will be there from SQL. 5 markers. Definitely one question will be there for 5 markers, especially in the last part. Okay, 2 markers will be there, 2 questions will be there, and 1 MCQ will be there. So remember here, DDL commands, it's going to be create, alter, drop. Create, alter, drop. What are the DML commands? DML command is going to be insert, okay, update, and delete. Okay, then we have a DQL command as select. So you should be knowing the syntax, complete explanation, and which command belongs to which one, what is the difference between alter and update, delete and drop. So such important questions they will be repeating again and again. So you can just see here the same thing what I told you. Purpose of grant and revoke, okay, to give the privileges and take back the privileges. Commit and rollback is basically save and undo operation. So SQL operators, arithmetic, logical, and relational operators. Relation, so it is greater than, less than, it is the same only. Logical is and or not, what you know. All, any, between is the same. In arithmetic, so plus, minus, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Max and min group functions they've asked. Delete and drop. Char and varchar data types in SQL. Dual table, given example here, and different types of different data types used in SQL. Okay, integer, character, date. So all these you have to remember. So we'll just go to the next slide. So 5 marker questions. This entire question, whatever is given here, develop the table, display the structure, total number of employees. The same question I have solved in model question paper 1, model question paper 2. I have solved it, everything with all the queries. You can verify that. So clearly I've explained here, develop the table means just not creating the table, you need to insert the tuples also. Is the point clear? Entire query is given in model question paper 1 and model question paper 2. You can refer for the entire answer. So we have this also been covered here. It's very simple with respect to the electricity bill. We have RR number, name, bill date, units, and amount is there. So you're supposed to develop the table, display the structure. DSE we use it. Total number of customers is what? Count star only we use it. Select count star from table name. Total units consumed by all the customers. We make use of sum function here. So select sum of what? Sum of units. Okay, from the table. Electricity bill. So display all the records, select star from table name. Okay, it's the same thing. So SQL group functions is there. You can write it as sum function, max, min function, average function. You can write it. Group by clause and order by clause. So FLT1 and FLT2. Okay, the fill in paper 1, fill in paper 2. Clearly I have given you the difference between what is group by clause and order by clause. It's basically what? Sorting only in general, if I have to tell you. It's for sorting, and this is basically organizing the data in terms of group is called as group by clause. So data definition language and data manipulation language, that's what I told you in the previous slide. It's going to be DDL commands and DML commands. SQL constraints, foreign key constraints, primary key constraints, not constraints, unique constraints, check constraints, or the SQL constraints. So we'll go to the chapter 15. That's going to be networking concepts. Totally, it's going to carry 7 marks. Okay, so you're going to get 1 question, 2 MCQs, and then 1 5 markers will be there. So what is topology? Different types of topology. You have to explain bus, star, ring topology, external star topology. Then we have mesh topology. Explain with the diagram. It's very important. So measures for preventing virus, that you already know, like antivirus. Okay, like, strong password, you have to use it. Keep updating your applications, operating system, everything. So write it properly. More points you write it. So if 1 or 2 points is wrong, also you'll be able to get the marks. Any 5 networking devices you can explain. Okay, modem, or it can be hub, switch. Okay, it can be with respect to router, gateway, anything you can explain. Network security, explain the different protection modes, authentication, authorization, encryption, biometric is there, no? So that you have to write here. What is virus? Characteristics of computer virus. So it gets slow, like the files gets duplicated, you'll be unable to boot it. Symptoms, you have to write it. It's the symptoms or the characteristics of computer virus. Don't write the measures for preventing the virus. Both are different. So types of virus, we have file infectors, then we have network virus. Okay, macro virus, we have it. Boot sector virus, so you have to explain the different types of virus. OSI model, OSI is Open System Interconnect, is different from Open Source Initiative from chapter Internet and Open Source. This is from chapter Networking Concepts. OSI is Open System Interconnect, the first referential model. It's a reference model only. So 7 layers are there. So you need to write that block diagram and you have to explain. This is going to be very less, very, very less. Okay, this is very less. They may ask you, I want you to remember how many layers are there? How many layers are there? How many layers are there? They may ask you in 1 marker. With that intention, they have given the explain OSI model. Okay, explain different communication modes. Communication mode, transmission mode is the most frequently asked question, simplex, half duplex, full duplex. So you should be knowing about this. Example also, radio, television, walkie-talkie, okay, then mobile, everything. Different types of networking cables. So twisted pair cable, coaxial cable, then optical fibers, you should be knowing it. Advantages, applications and goals of computer networks, also they may ask you. So we'll go to the next question. That's going to be chapter 16, Internet and Open Source Concept. It's going to be 1 MCQs and 3 markers. Totally 4 markers will be there. So here, what is e-commerce? Types of e-commerce, B2B, B2C, C2B, and all the 4 combinations, whatever is there, you have to write that. So such questions are also there. Example will be given. You need to find out which type of e-commerce is that. Okay, this also have solved it. So buying of used car from owner is going to be what? C2C. Then we have buying goods from Amazon website. It's going to be B2C, and this is going to be what? Distributor from the manufacturer. It's going to be business to business, B2B. Advantages and disadvantages of e-commerce and www. So we have terms, explanation like web page, www, and we have proprietary software. What is web browser? Mention any 4 web browser. Any 4 web browser you can mention. What is shareware? And write its limitations. Write a note on open source software. What is open source software? Write its feature. Remember, open source software means the source code is available. The most commonly asked question, the most confusing question also. There is a freeware also. Open source software, it doesn't mean that it should be free of cost. They may charge you also. It depends. Some are free, some are not free. So open source code, main thing is that the source code is available. Source code is available. That is the key point you have to remember. So, okay, technologies and services of e-commerce. When they have asked you the services and technologies of e-commerce, it is not the type of e-commerce. Technology and services of e-commerce is about electronic fund transfer. Okay, we have NEFT, we have RTGS, we have online payment like Google Pay, then we have Paytm. No, so it's about technology and services of e-commerce. They've highlighted this point in the textbook. Please refer that and write it. Don't get confused. It is not the types of e-commerce. Clear? So we'll just go to the next chapter. That's going to be web designing. So this chapter carries totally 4 marks, 1 MCQ and 3 markers. Okay, 1 question from 3 markers. So how do you create this table? So this is already done in model paper 1 and model paper 2. Just check that. So we have an HTML tags for creating a link. So it's going to be an anchor tag, creating an image, inserting an image, IMG tag, SRC. So it's going to be background color, body, BG color. So background color of a web page, it's repeated here. To add a single line break, so we have BR tag. So underline, so we have a U tags for underline. So any 3 form tags. So the form tags means what? It's basically a radio button or checkbox, or it can be in a text box, or it can be a password, submit button, reset button, any form elements you can write it here. So table tags is what? Table tag, TR tag, TH tag, TD tag. So we have a 3 basic tags, HTML tag. So we have an HTML head tag, then we have a body tag. So remember that title tag, these are all the basic HTML tags. Web hosting, mention types of web hosting. So web hosting, free hosting, colocation hosting. Okay, so like this, we have a different types of web hosting. So you should be knowing at least they've asked you to mention only, so you can just mention the different types of web hosting. General structure of HTML, whole general structure you have to write it to a HTML head, title, then you close, open the body, write something, okay, dash, 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 you can put it here, general structure only. Close the body, close HTML, that's it. So that gives you the structure of HTML. Web scripting, explain the types of web scripting, client-side scripting and then server-side scripting. DHTML and writes its features. So dynamic hypertext markup language. They may ask for the difference between XML and HTML also. Okay, this is not a scripting language. XML is not a scripting language. Remember that. Okay, so what are the advantages of web designing? So such questions are frequently being asked from this chapter. So you need to go through with this. If you are prepared with these questions, definitely you will get more than 60 students. If you are thorough with these questions repeatedly, if you just go through with the videos, what I've done, it's repeatedly same questions they've asked again and again. But you should know how to present it. Is the point clear? So we have done with for today. That's all for today. So if any query is there, any kind of doubt you have it, okay, do post it. We'll definitely address it. Thanks for watching. Thanks once again.